everyone. Welcome to the Water Online Show. We are on location. That's right. Water Online Show has hit the road and we are in Anaheim, California. I have the pleasure of welcoming our very special celebrity co-host for this edition of the Water Online Show. It is none other than industry legend, Angela Godwin. Angela, thank you
Travis,
for joining us
thank
here.
you so much. You are way too kind. Everyone knows you're the real legend around here.
Oh,
so
stop
I'm
it.
honored.
No, I appreciate that. No, but for those of you that don't know, Angela has been in this industry for almost 20 years, which is crazy because she's 27 years old. And it's really a pleasure to be able to share the lens and the stage with you here for this episode of the Water Online Show. So one of the things that I wanted to cover right off the bat is this is probably my 22nd AWWA show. As I mentioned in the intro, we are here in Anaheim at ACE 2024. And there always seems to be like a singular theme that is the buzz around the show floor and in the classrooms, all of that. But one thing I'm really noticing is that doesn't exist this year. It's a conglomerate and collection of all sorts of different things.
There are a lot of things being talked about.
I mean, the topics that we covered yesterday on Water Talk, where we would give interviews to some of the industry leading experts and subject matter experts about what's happening in the water market, there was a lot of ground to cover.
Definitely.
So why don't we dive in and just sort of start with the very first thing?
Sure. I think, we did hear a lot about data yesterday. We spoke with Sheila Key from Itron, and we also spoke with David Totman over at Autodesk, and both talked about data and how data needs to be clean and usable. It's not just about gathering data for data's sake. If you can't use it, it's worthless.
Without a doubt. I mean, don't get us wrong. It's very important to collect the data, right? So it's sort of like that Seinfeld episode where it's about you're good at taking the reservation, but what's most important is holding the reservation, right? So it's good to get the data, right? But the most important part is, what do you do with it?
Exactly.
Right? How do you utilize it to better make your systems more efficient and better your systems?
Absolutely. So. And, I will add to that, too, that, David talked a lot about how data, it's a very human thing. It's not that information and machine learning is going to replace humans. It's a tool to help humans do their jobs more efficiently.
Without a doubt. This industry is fueled by human connection. This is a life science. Water is a life science.
Exactly.
So that being said, all this technology and innovation is not meant to replace the human element of the industry. I mean, at least that's what we've been talking about over the past day or so. It's meant to help the human element do their jobs better and make their systems and their offerings to the end users that much more efficient and better.
Exactly. And it reminds me, and you probably remember this, when there was a big transition back when we had manual meter reading, and then there was this push, to AMR first and then to AMI eventually. And there was a lot of concern in the industry about people being replaced. And that just didn't really happen. No,
I mean, you're right. There was this constant state of fear about who's going to be replaced and why, and this switch from this manual checking from house to house, building to building, and all of those people that were specialized in that were going to be somehow let go. Never happened.
Right.
Right. They were just given different responsibilities that actually made their processes more efficient.
Right. And for many of them, their careers really became that much better because they were able to pursue other opportunities maybe they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So.
Exactly. I mean, it's all about innovation and moving forward.
Exactly.
Right. And not replacing that human element.
Exactly. And you know what? On that same topic, we talked with Jim Cooper from Arcadis yesterday, and he was talking a lot about AI and machine learning. Of course, you can't go a day without hearing about AI.
Right.
So,
exactly.
But he was talking about, kind of that same idea that, AI is really meant to be a tool to help people. But further, there are a lot of regulations that are in the works around AI and making sure that we use it safely and in the right places. So really he wanted to let people know that there is research. He's doing a lot himself. He had a lot of presentations going on here at the show, all about AI and machine learning and what that impact may be to the water industry in the next, 3 to 5 years.
I think the big fear that we're hearing about AI is the fear of the unknown, because it is so new and it has so much capability that the fear of what it could actually do it does exist,
It
that,
does.
that sort of healthy skepticism of how it's going to affect the market.
Right.
But here's the thing, the guardrails are already starting to be put in place, right, to protect
Exactly.
the industry as a whole. So
Exactly.
there's not a lot of need to worry. It should be exciting. We should be
It
looking
should.
forward to this. I mean, I know I'm excited.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of the attendees here at AWWA and ACE 2024 are really excited about the prospect.
They are. And if you think about it, we already are using quite a bit of AI in the industry. You think about predictive pipe maintenance, for example.
Yes.
The idea that a machine could tell you, hey, listen, your pipes are kind of getting close to some failures. You might want to take a look. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
It is. I mean, think back 5-6 years ago, like we didn't
You didn't know
exist,
until they
right?
broke.
Right, exactly. That's the problem, right?
Right.
That problem no longer exists if you look in the right areas for where the solutions might be, and the solutions do exist. So
Yes.
this is a really good, exciting time to be in this market.
It really is. It really is. Speaking of excitement, another one of our guests yesterday, our friend Maury Gaston over at American Pipe.
Maury, yes.
Yeah, so
everybody here loves Maury.
Everybody loves Maury.
It seems like a Maury going away party. It really does.
Right.
I mean, it's
So,
crazy.
because for those of you who don't know, our friend Maury Gaston is retiring, and he's been in the industry for 42 years, Travis.
That is
Can you imagine?
amazing.
I hope I'm in the industry
Right,
for 42.
exactly. God willing, right? That here in the industry for almost half a century.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Maury, this goes out to you. We are going to miss you.
Oh.
And this industry will miss you. And thank you for all that you've done.
Absolutely. Best of luck to you,
Yeah,
Maury.
so
Absolutely. So we talked to Paul McAndrew. He's with Mueller.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I thought was really interesting, he acknowledged, obviously, in the post-COVID world we live in, we've seen a lot of supply chain and logistics delays, a lot of issues. And
Yeah,
he
that's
acknowledged that,
around.
Mueller was not immune to those issues.
Nobody is.
And nobody
Right.
is. And so, talking about sort of all of the efforts that they've put into trying to resolve that and really putting themselves in front of their customers and being very customer forward has been key. So I think those were good words of advice for any other vendors and suppliers out there who are facing these issues. Is just, you got to make sure that customer is number one.
Without a doubt. I mean, we know it's really hard to navigate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to navigate those troubled waters as it relates to supply chain, but it is getting better. It has progressively gotten better over the past 2 years, I believe. So we're hearing a little bit less about it, but again, it is recognized as a struggle.
Absolutely.
But like anything else in this industry, which is very resilient, we're getting past it.
Yep.
So
Yep, for sure. Now, of course, we couldn't go a day without talking about PFAS, right? I
What?
mean, we had
What's that?
Have you heard of that?
Never heard
Yeah?
of it. No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, it is. It's just. It's all that everybody's talking about. So it came up quite a few times in our interviews yesterday. Angela Rodriguez was visiting us. She's with Calgon Carbon, and she was talking about. There are a few strategies out there for removing PFAS, and granular activated carbon is one of those. And so
Yeah.
they were talking about that and how they really tried hard to anticipate the levels that EPA might end up settling around.
So
for an
they almost
MCL.
tried to prognosticate what that was going
exactly.
to be. Wow, all right.
And
That's bold.
they actually they were spot on. So they are very well positioned
Nailed
right
it.
now too. Right, and I mean that's a big one to nail,
Yeah,
right? So
without a doubt.
they're in a really good position right now to help utilities out there that are struggling with PFAS and help them get that out of their systems.
I mean, that was a surprise to a lot of us when those regulations came out. I was in Washington, D.C. At the WEMA conference, and we were actually listening to a presentation about PFAS when it hit the press.
Wow.
Right? So,
talk about where were you?
I mean,
right?
it was
when
all
happened.
those like you hear cell phones dinging throughout the whole like lecture hall, and it was something. Now, PFAS, as it is, right? Every municipality is going to have to at least test. Right, so the Water Online show has done 3 or 4 different episodes on PFAS from different angles. Right, how do you test? How do you treat? What the next steps are? What are the first steps? And that's really what I tried to cover on the Water Online show is first step.
Right.
Every municipality needs to take a proverbial first step.
Yeah.
And what we're finding that first step to be is testing.
You can't manage what you don't measure, right?
Exactly.
I mean, we hear that all
right.
the time. But
Right. So for those of you out there that work for municipalities and you're wondering, what do I do first? Test, right? And then
Yeah.
from there, there's plenty of resources on Water Online that you can go to help walk you through what that process looks like from there. But also, it will give you some direction as to where to go to get the proper testing,
Yeah.
right? So it's got to be done. the clock is ticking, but you still have plenty of time. But let's start with testing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The last thing I wanted to bring up today, Travis, I was actually our last guest of the day yesterday, and it was a fantastic one. Mr. Ian McLeod of Fascinator came by and chatted with
another
us.
industry legend.
Another legend, right?
Yeah.
He really honed in on the topic of workforce, which I really love to hear. This is something that I personally am really interested in. I find it fascinating what's going on in our industry. A lot of retirements, as you know, we've been expecting it for some time, but that doesn't, negate the challenge of backfilling those positions. And something interesting that Ian talked about was, yes, we do have a lot of industry knowledge going out the door, but you have to remember that some of that knowledge, not all of it, but some of it, we don't need anymore because the industry is also changing at the same time.
Yeah, there's multiple facets to this, and I was so glad that he had a chance to come and sit down with you as part of our Water Talk efforts here at AWW and ACE 2024. And we've been talking about this issue for how many years?
It's been quite as long as I can remember.
Exactly, like at least a decade, right? Where there is again some healthy skepticism and fear about where is the workforce going and how is that knowledge transfer going to happen? And one of the things that he mentioned, as you just noted, is that while that may be an issue, that may be a question, but at the same time, that knowledge transfer doesn't need to happen in all, in the entire set of the market, because a lot of that knowledge, while important and has served us well in the industry, is no longer what is used to manage the facilities and have them process efficiently, whether it's treatment or distribution or whatever.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, yes, the knowledge is good, but we want the new workforce coming in to learn the new ways.
Yes,
right. And a lot that has to do with we can edit that.
That's easy for you to say.
Digitization of all the systems that are utilized by municipalities today.
Yeah,
but what did they call it? The silver tsunami?
Yeah, the silver tsunami. Which is, I don't know. I've got a little silver hair myself. I find it,
I think we all do, right? Like, so yeah, there's no need to harp on the hair color, right?
Come on.
But it is one other aspect that he did touch on that I think is great, is that while there is new, younger talent, and they are talent coming into the market and industry, like that's an exciting thing.
It is,
right?
It is, and a lot of that new talent coming in, it's a different type of talent than we've seen in the past, because there is so much more digitization and automation.
That was really good, by the way.
I learned
I stumbled over that
one. And
She's really good.
It's offering entrance into the industry a little bit more of that technology that and I hate to use the phrase younger generation, because that really does make me seem old, but
we're still in our 20s, so but there are people younger than us, right? We're not in our 20s.
But they're craving that. They're used to that, right? And so now that the water industry can offer a little bit of that, I think it goes a long way towards having a place for those kids coming in. So,
without a doubt.
Yeah,
I mean, if I was to summarize, and I'd like you to summarize based on your own the details that you picked up on yesterday. This show is so important to the market. It's so important to the industry as a whole to be able to bring everybody together. Its ability to bring everybody together, and just the general excitement when those doors opened. So we're kind of on one side of the show floor. You can't tell by this camera. We're kind of on one side. When those doors opened at 10 a.m., we were inundated like a flood of humanity.
Crazy.
I was, I made the comment that it was like, maybe like a Taylor Swift concert, or
like, where's Tay-Tay?
Or like Bon Jovi from our generation was like opening and playing in the back. Like it was just this sea of humanity.
It was wonderful to see that. It was really wonderful.
And everybody's excited.
Everyone's excited. I haven't heard any numbers yet, but I gotta say, this it feels like one for the books. I don't know. I was very pleasantly surprised at just how well attended this is. Could be Anaheim, could be a fact that AWWA and ACE is just that influential in the market. But man, we love seeing everybody. Oh, it was great. It was great to see.
AWWA, fantastic job with ACE once again this year. I just am so impressed, and I know, Angela, you are too, at how well they bring everybody together and generate some excitement in this industry and all of the exciting things and innovation that we're seeing. So for all of you out there, thank you for spending your time with us here today. For Angela Godwin, I'm Travis Kennedy, and I'd like to say thank you, goodbye, and we will talk to you next time. We're signing off from AWWA ACE 2024 for the Water Online Show. We will see you next time.